Well, hello everybody. I mean, it's been 2 weeks since the last time I actually went through the recommendations as far as what to be buying as far as securities. And so what I wanted to look at now is actually the return that we've actually had over the last couple of weeks. And if you look at the column where I have return for the portfolio, we actually did 0.76%. The S&P 500 did 0.34%. And again, the goal that I have, with this portfolio is to be 2 to 3 times better than the S&P 500. That's what I've set out to do, and that's how I've created my portfolio so that we can actually achieve, again, 2 to 3 times better than whatever the S&P 500 does. Obviously, if the S&P 500 goes down by, let's say, negative 10%, by 10%, I don't want to be down by 10%. I want to be down by a very small amount relative to the S&P 500. And again, looking to be 2 to 3 times better. So if it's down by 10, hopefully my goal is to be only down by a little bit. Again, depending on the market conditions. And in some cases, I should be even up, even if the market's down. But the goal ultimately is if you look at the returns over 12 months or over 6 months, it's always to be 2 to 3 times better than the S&P 500. If you look at the returns over the last 12 months, the portfolio has returned 63%, whereas the S&P 500 has done 16.5%. And if you look at it from the beginning of the year, the portfolio has done 26.5, whereas the S&P 500's done 8.39. Again, the goal is to continue the excellence as far as having a nice spread from my portfolio's return to the S&P 500 of, again, 2 to 3 times. And I want to be able to sustain that going forward. No, not every month, no, not every 2 weeks will I see a gain of being better by 2 to 3 times. I could be just slightly better like this past 2 weeks. It's only basically just 2 times actually better than the S&P 500. And if you look at some of the prior 2 week periods, I was actually down in some cases where, well, just actually a little bit less than the S&P 500 than what it actually had returned. But again, the goal over the long term is to have an outcome where again it's 2 to 3 times. And as I've mentioned before many times, my portfolio is actually created by using, fundamental analysis where I look at the markets, the securities, and then on top of that, I do overlay some AI optimization modeling, which really makes it very focused on what's going to return the most in the upcoming periods. And there's a lot of details that go into not only the fundamental analysis, but also the AI modeling that I do. And those are things that I will talk more and more about in future sessions. I know I've got different topics going on, and a lot of it's actually very fundamental right now, especially even on options, which can be a part of the portfolio to either enhance it or reduce some of the risk that's out there in the market. Um, but yes, I just want to put that out there. The returns, and now, as I usually do, I will show what the portfolio should be for the upcoming 2 weeks. And again, it's designed to be longer than that, but I like to look at it every 2 weeks and make some adjustments every 2 weeks. And so this is what I have on the plate right now. Take a look at it, take a snapshot of it. Um, it's roughly 8 securities. So again, very focused. And again, there's a nice swath of some nice broadness to what I've selected, for these 2 weeks. But again, also very focused. Again, there's some international plays in there. I have Berkshire back in the game. I haven't had them actually in a while a chosen security, so I've got them back in. Um, I've got some of the miners in copper. So either way, take a snapshot, and again, I will, as far as showing what the return of this portfolio is. I will be back in 2 weeks to actually tell you what the return is and how we've done, and then we'll have probably some new securities at that point in time. All right, thank you.